And we're live. Welcome. Aloha. Good to see you. Although I can't see you, you can see me. So I hope it's good for you to see me. So, Elon versus Bezos. Elon is obsessed with tech. He makes a lot of money. Bezos is obsessed with his customers. He's the richest man on earth. Yeah, let's think about that. Elon is focused on all this tech, and he's been the most amazing tech entrepreneur that's created, taking people to the moon, all this kind of thing. And that was his goal, to go to the moon. Well, Bezos was always talking about serving the customer. And I've heard him talk about, he says he's obsessed with the customer and just thinks about him constantly. And so I've been getting into that lately myself. Just really focusing on what is the customer's experience. And so with that, I'm upgrading the website. And so the people, whenever they actually buy from me, my goal is that every single person that buys from me is now a marketer for me. I'm copying Alex Hormozy again. I'm trying to make customers to get sales. I'm trying to get sales in order to keep the customer. I don't want to have a customer just to make the one sale. And so, anyway, it sounded better when he said it. Welcome, whoever you are, my one watcher. Today I said that I was going to go kind of deep into real estate, some of my real estate strategy, what we've been working on here. I'll go ahead and turn off the music. Like I said, I like the music, but that's for me. And so for those of you who don't know me, my name is Alex Alexander. I own Integrity Portfolio Management. We own $1.5 million worth of land assets here in Hawaii. And I sell land, but I give away knowledge for free because there are too many people out there in the world who are going to die broke. And I don't want you to be one of them. So I think it's just too easy to not be broke, to not share the information with other people and have them take advantage of it as well. So today I'm going back into talking about my strategy of what's going on here in Hawaii. So I work in this real specific area called Ocean View, Hawaii. So I suggest everybody who's interested in finding out about it, go Google and see where it is on the map. First of all, Big Island, Hawaii is the largest island. It's the least populated, and it's the most rural, and it has the most agriculture. So Big Island, Hawaii is also Hawaii County and Hawaii Island. It's all three the same thing. So our one island is also one county. And just an interesting tidbit, each city doesn't have its own mayor. Our entire island has one mayor. But our entire island has a population of 200,000 people who live here. Although we have tons of tourists coming every day, so it seems like there's tons of more people, there are only 200,000 that live here. And as a matter of fact, here in Kona, where I am now, this is only 10 to 11,000 people. And actually that may have changed over COVID. I haven't checked it out more recently, but only 10 to 11,000 people live here in town. So even though the town may swell with much more than that, only that amount. So in between the two big cities of on Big Island, Hawaii, those two big cities are Hilo and Kona. Hilo is the fourth largest city in the state, in the entire state of Hawaii. Hilo is the fourth most populated. They got 40,000 people. Kona has about 10 to 11. And so over there in Hilo, it's the other side. So the Big Island, they call it Big Island for a reason. It's real big and it's real tall. We're the tallest mountain, 13,000 feet elevation, I believe. And that's Mauna Kea. So the reason I'm telling you all this is because the island is really big. It has a really low population. It's very rural. It has an agricultural, tilt to kind of the whole island. And so I'm setting you up for this island because as I talk about, I only focus on buying and developing land in Ocean View, Hawaii. There's one subdivision, one area, one specific area. And so I focused all of my efforts, everything that I've done over these years to kind of, go through my bona fides real quick. Back in 2008, we were buying $100 million tapes from REO Tapes. And if you don't know what that is, that's REO is real estate owned. So foreclosure properties that go back to the bank doesn't want them. Everybody who's in real estate kind of sort of familiar with that. Most folks in business also. So, they made them available to the market, and we were a part of that whole entire thing. So I got an intense education in high-level finance, and I probably should have had like a degree from Harvard or Yale for all the things we were doing. And I didn't. It was just me. And I just got in with this group and they taught me how to do it. And I did really well. So that was in the past. And from all that knowledge that I gained then, and then all the different investments and different businesses we've had over the time, I have condensed it down. And that's about, let's see, we're talking about 10 years, roughly 10 years. Condensed that down till we started doing what we're doing now, and we focused it all in on Ocean View, Hawaii. That's one subdivision. Now, whenever I say a subdivision, that might seem strange to talk about focusing on just one subdivision for an entire career. And I'm not only talking about it for a career, I'm talking to multi-generational. I plan for this one subdivision to support many generations of my family. And so what we're building are structures and infrastructure, financial ways, websites, all these kind of things, so that this one subdivision, as we continue to grow it and continue to focus on this one subdivision, then all of the infrastructure that we build, it's just like a toll road. You just build the road, and then as everything around it starts to use the road more, you make the money. So that's what we have been building, are all the infrastructures, the sales pathways, the funnels, the websites. And so I say all these kind of like infrastructure sounds, that's kind of a weird word to use. So like a website where somebody who wants to buy a piece of land can come, shop just like everybody does on a website. You shop and we've set it up now. We've built an entire system to where you can see your land online, actually apply for it right there online on the same website, then get approved, sign all your documents right there on through that same website, and then make your payment right through that same website. So we set up, that's what I mean when I say an infrastructure. So I set up this entire pipeline, this entire infrastructure, highway, however you want to say it. It's a website is really all it is. It's basically a website with about a lot of back end stuff, about $5 million worth of back end work of technology and automation to make just that one portion of what we're talking about work. So that's the strategy that I'm kind of digging into a little bit today. And I'm going to unveil kind of some of the rest of it. And so we've already done that and done very, very well. And whenever I was telling my story the other day, I kind of was letting you know how we got started and where it came from. We lived in the community and in this one subdivision we're talking about. And I'll go back and tell you why now that it's so important just to focus on that one subdivision. Well, it's the biggest. And whenever I say the biggest, it's 11,000 1-acre agricultural lots. So not only is it the biggest in size, it's actually 11,000 units. So it's a subdivision with 11,000 TMKs, 11,000 parcels. So that's quite a bit. We focus on this one subdivision. It's 1 hour from both of those two large cities that I was talking about. So you have Hilo on one side. That's what we call the wet side of the island. That's got 40,000 people living there. And then we have Kona, the dry side, say 11,000 people. Kona's more what you might call the tourist side. It's got more of the white sand beaches. And Hilo has more waterfalls and higher local population. And so that's the two areas. Well, the island is kind of round, right? And so the island is basically on the outside. Of course, it's an island, so everything on the outside of the circle is next to the water. And then as you go closer in, it goes higher up. So I guess it would look like that. So, it's a mountain. It's a mountain. And you go down. So all the roads are around the outside of the island. And not all of the roads, but most of the large, that's where the road, the Belt Road, Mamalahoa Highway. And so it goes all the way around the island. And the great thing is you can just keep going round and round and round. And just fun fact, it takes about 6 hours to go all the way around the entire island. And it's fun. I like it. So that one road, is the one road that goes from Hilo to Kona. So you have to go all the way down to go around. There is another one that goes across the top of the mountain, but this one road is just a lone road off down there by itself. There's not really a lot of other ways to get there. It's just this one road, and it goes from Kona to Hilo. In the middle of that one road is 11,000 acres of Hawaiian Ocean View estates. And that's what we call Ocean View. It's actually, I think, 7 subdivisions, if I remember right. There's Ranchos, which is the lower down, and those are larger parcels, 3 acres. And then there's Pulakai, Kona Gardens, Keoki's. There's a few other ones that haven't really been developed too much as well as Ocean View. So Ocean View is by far the way highest populated, way highest trafficked area. Now, a couple of other really interesting things about this one subdivision is that it's all off grid. So we don't have any sewer. Now, this is a volcanic island. It's new volcano, so that means that the ground is rock. Most excavating equipment that you've probably ever seen anywhere, unless you're in somewhere where there's mining, most excavation equipment is made to deal with dirt. So almost everywhere that you go where they put water lines in, where they put power lines in the ground and all this kind of thing, the excavation is done in dirt. And so all of that equipment gets used and gets abused and taxed harder when it's used here, like literally about 50 times harder just to bulldoze an area and dig into the ground. Like there are large trenchers and things like that you can use in dirt. We just can't even use those here. The reason I'm saying all that is because whenever these subdivisions were built, they didn't put in water and power, and they didn't put in sewer. And so all of these subdivisions, they're agricultural subdivisions, which is great. It's great if you're any kind of a do-it-yourself kind of person, off-grid, homesteaders, all types of people who want to be out of all of those things I just described, like being connected to city water, being connected to the city sewer, being connected to the power company and the cable company. There are plenty of people who don't want that. And so this subdivision is now getting more popular because tons of people are moving away from cities and tons of people are finding remote work. Well, if you're going to work remotely, why not live in Hawaii? And so we're getting a lot of people right now who just look at Hawaii and they try to find just the cheapest place they can. Well, that's Ocean View. That's Ocean View, Hawaii. One of the big things that's kept the price low there for so long is the humongous amount of inventory. There's a huge amount of inventory, and I'll get back to that in a minute because it's important. Until then, let's have the satisfying sip. As I've said, I have no idea why that's popular on YouTube, but it makes me laugh every time everybody else does it. And it's nice when you're doing a show to remember to take a breath and enjoy your sip. Me personally, I'm sipping mud water. If you don't know what it is, I highly suggest it all the time. I drink it every day. It's great. Doesn't taste that great, so you need to find your own little recipe of it. My recipe is mud water, Laird Hamilton, and ghee butter, and it tastes great. So I think that's also good if you're keto or if you're like fasting and all that kind of thing, because the ghee butter makes it, you don't get so hungry. It's almost like a meal or whatever. That's the way I use it. So back to business. We're talking about Ocean View, Hawaii, and this large subdivision that's halfway in between Hilo and Kona. Let's go back and review. Hilo and Kona, very far apart. Takes an hour from Kona to get halfway. Takes about an hour and a half to get from Hilo halfway. Halfway in between, Ocean View, Hawaii, 11,000 1-acre agricultural lots. Now, the price has been very, very low because the inventory is just humongous. It's just so huge that if you're familiar with supply and demand, anytime there's too much inventory, too much supply, the temptation when anybody just needs money right this second is to sell for cheap. And so the larger the inventory of excess supply, the more motivation there is to sell for cheap, and the more people that are out there who might have that motivation at any one time, which means that the price can go down. So that drives prices down, and that comes into my strategy pretty soon. I'll tell you a little bit about the rest of the infrastructure that I'm building right now. So I already have that infrastructure. And if you remember, that's just a website. The infrastructure is to where people can buy their lots. And so we've made it very simple. We've taken away a lot of these barriers to entry, which are high prices or being able to get financed. So we had a ton of problems with people getting financed in this area because it's Lava Zone 2. What this means is that when the insurance companies went through and did a assessment, I don't even know how long ago, the insurance companies have named this area Lava Zone 2. Actually, I don't think it's the insurance companies. It's probably a technical name from like, I'm going to guess the Hawaii Volcanic Observatory Group maybe, or somebody else, probably some sort of government called it that. But it's really important to the insurance agencies because whenever you get down to Lava Zone 2, it's hard to get insurance, home insurance, mortgage insurance, because the insurance company is looking at it. There's not an insurance company here on Hawaii Island, not an insurer that is insuring it. So that's us, by the way. So there's not an insurance company here who's underwriting this land or these mortgages. So no one can get, not no one, it becomes very challenging to get mortgage insurance on land that's in Lava Zone 2. We have 11,000 acres that's in Lava Zone 2. When I say we have, I mean that's what's in the subdivision. So we have in this big subdivision 11,000 acres, and they all have a hard time getting mortgage insurance. So this means it's hard to get permits to get, if you can't get mortgage insurance, you can't get a mortgage. So if you can't get a mortgage, it's hard to build nicer big homes. A lot of what I've been talking about are kind of the overlook of the economy of areas, because it's become so important to me to understand that, because if you don't understand that market and that overall area that you're working in, it really turns out to be a waste of time, in my opinion. Stealing from Alex Hormozy again. Let's see if I can say it right. And I'm stealing from Alex Hormozy, and he was stealing from Warren Buffett. So there you go. The quote is, you can have a good market and a bad entrepreneur, and the market still wins. And you can have a good market and a good entrepreneur, and the market still wins. The whole point is it really doesn't matter as much as the entrepreneur as it matters the market they're in and what they're selling and all that kind of thing. So in this area where the price is really low because there's too much inventory, I've been operating. We went and we got, like I was telling you, we got 14 lots after a small amount of time. We put together these lots and we had them on rent to own buying them and rent to own selling them. A few people were successful in paying them off, and that was great, but it gave us this certain amount of income where we could start to grow. And one of the things I did to grow, I'll refresh, is to say that I focused in on all of this accounting. And really, I kind of joke about it and call it like PhD level or master's MBA level accounting skills, like getting in and really looking at the business and figuring out, because what gets measured gets improved. And all of these, once again, are little mental hooks. And every time something comes up in a business and I remember those mental hooks, I go, oh, that's what that means. Whenever it gets measured, it gets improved. All of accounting and all of this, all of the projections are about tracking what you're doing and improving them. So, sipping again. I must be dry today. I do have the air conditioner going. So in Ocean View there, with mostly no power, no city water, no city sewer, people are on solar, people are on catchment, and there are a ton of off-grid services that people use. They dig their own septic, and so you have to get a permit for all of this. Like I said, digging in the ground is not so easy here. It's rock. You're busting rock. You're not digging a hole. You're busting into rock. So it's almost like you're mining every time you do something around here. Out here in this subdivision, we have about 10,000 people living in that entire area. Now, if you remember, I said the huge tourist destination, Kona, Hawaii, has about 10 to 11,000 people living here. We got huge supermarkets. There's a hospital here. high school, 2 high schools, airport, Costco, Walmart, um, probably 5 banks, a million gas stations, all this kind of thing. In Ocean View, with a similar size population, no bank, no school, no doctor, no pharmacy. So I've been focusing on this area because it's the fastest growing district in the entire state. 23% year over year growth in this one district. It just keeps growing and growing and growing. I can't wait till the new numbers come out. I'm so excited to hear what the new numbers are, because during this last 2020, we had tons of people move not only to Hawaii, to Big Island, to rural areas, and the cheapest place to move, the least expensive land on the island, Ocean View, Hawaii. Tons of people bought up tons of the cheaper lots. So let's talk about specific numbers. How cheap is a 1 acre cheap lot on the side of a volcano? Because all these things I told you about, some of these are challenges, they're issues. You're at 3,000 feet elevation. It gets cold at night. You're on rock. There's no power. There's no water. There's no sewer. So what is a piece of land in Hawaii that has those conditions worth? It used to be about $5,000 to $10,000 and up from there. And so there's a dramatic difference in the amount of foliage and what the terrain is like all through Ocean View. It's 11,000 acres. That's big, big, big. So with that large of a size, you've got parts of it that are forest. I'm talking thick, beautiful, lush forest with big bushes and tall trees. You can't even get your arms around big 800-year-old ohia trees, hardwood trees. Then you go 3 blocks away, and it looks like the moon. It's the site of a volcano, which means 1,200 years ago, there were eruptions. And so part of it is a beautiful forest that may be many thousand years old. And part of it is 1,200-year-old lava rock. So lava rock is 1,200 years is, it's like that. It's nothing. It's brand new. And so we have tons of this brand new lava rock all over this whole subdivision. What that means is you'll be driving down the road, and like I said, it's a forest. And then all of a sudden, a block later, it looks like you're on the scape of the moon. So this also makes a large variance in the prices. That makes it hard for the places that have beautiful, beautiful views. It's gorgeous. There's trees, nice breezes. 2 blocks away, whenever it comes down to comps, all you real estate folks know all about this. The comps, the other properties, the value is way down because first of all, it was a piece of moon rock. It looked like a piece of moon rock. Since it was so cheap, somebody probably bought it cheap. Since they bought it so low, they maybe didn't have so much respect for it, and they might have trashed it. So now you got this trashed piece of moon rock a block away from a gorgeous $400,000 wooded, they look like gorgeous cabins. We've got tons of them up there, these beautiful kind of like log cabins, retreats, and there are tons of them. They're very valuable and very beautiful the way they've made them. So this is making it challenging for the $400,000 value place to rise in value, while you got a $5,000 place that's full of trash. And since it's so large and it's agricultural, the taxes are very, very low, $200 a year for 1 acre. So that means that the county can only give us $200 per unit of services. And so I've talked to a lot of people in the government and the county here locally about this, and they just can't. There's not much they can do about it. They can only spend the amount of money they have. They really can't spend on a tremendous deficit. They just don't have it. And so maybe they don't have the credit. It's only 200,000 people. And a county is an organization, it's an entity. So probably the entity doesn't really have the credit to go borrow hundreds of millions of dollars to put in humongous programs, because that's what it takes for large large scale projects that counties and municipalities take on. So we have all these lots out there. The prices are low, the inventory is high, and the higher end properties are having trouble. They're hitting a ceiling trying to get up. And we have tons of these properties that are kind of dragging down, right? Another big challenge is plenty of people bought these lands and still buy these lands on payments, the same way that we sell them. We actually buy these properties and sell them on payments. And so we sell them at what the market, what the value actually is. The market is lagging behind the value. And this is a big challenge that's been had in mobile home parks across the entire country. That's what's happening right now in mobile home park investing, that the market has lagged quite far behind the value. And so you can go in and snatch up these deals, and that's the arbitrage where you can find the split and be able to find, profit. That's where people find alpha. So these properties that we have out there, some of the details again, low price, high inventory, keeping the price low. And so as we were out there, we were starting to work within all these issues, and we kept raising the value of our properties and raising the prices and setting our prices at the value instead of where the market would support. And actually we found out that the market would support the value. Now, I don't know if this makes any sense to you. I'm talking about some strange economic concepts that I barely grasp myself. So if I'm saying it wrong and some economist says I'm an idiot, you're probably right. But here's the thing. The value has outgrown the market, right? So the market is what people will pay for it. The value is what the actual value of it is. And so some people will say, well, the value is what the market says it is. Well, obviously not in this situation. I set the value here, and the market has come to meet the value that we set. So I'd love for some economist to come and tell me that either I'm right or I'm wrong. I think I'm right because it seems to be working out. The value is going up. The market is meeting the price that we've set. And so we're getting into the next part of what we're getting up to. I've kind of laid out the first part of the infrastructure. So now what we're going to do is raise a fund. And so the fund is another website, and this is another set of infrastructure. I'm talking about 3 sets of infrastructure. And that's what we're building for this specific area. This subdivision, this one niche, this is exactly what I'm working on. And to tell you the truth, this is probably going to be my entire career working on this one project in this one subdivision because there's so much work there. We've got 30 acres of commercial. I already own the 3 acres of industrial. There's only one industrial lot. There's only one parcel in between the 2 big towns that's industrial that can house storing, and I own it. So storage, self-storage. Yeah. So that's what I'm working on in Ocean View. That's kind of aside from these 3 sets of infrastructure that I'm talking about. One is the cell infrastructure. That's already set up. That's my website. Anybody can go see that right now, hawaiiescapeco.com. hawaiiescapeco.com. And you can go see the sales part. That's where we sell the lots that we've already been getting. So that's become more streamlined, automated, and almost institutional. So we're working to get all 3 sets of this infrastructure institutional. The sales, we're pretty much there. We're pretty much set to where that's automated, that's institutional. The accounting, the sales, the marketing, all of that is pretty much working itself. That's a repeating business that's actually starting to repeat itself. And thanks, Alex Hormozy, once again. Geez, he might as well get some, what's up with the Bucks, Alex? So he, what was he talking about? He says, if you want to just stop marketing, just only make your product so amazing that this person that you're selling to right here is the last person you're ever going to be able to sell to. And every other sale that you ever get in your entire course of your entire career has to come from what this person says about your business. And so that might seem like a real weird and dramatic way to think about it, but it's worked for me. It's been working very well. So we're doing quite a bit less active marketing, and we have that referral marketing. So we have that sales part of the infrastructure. Now we're working on the fund, the investment structure. So what is that back end? What does the infrastructure part mean? That means that we need to form the LLCs, a triple LP. We'll go ahead and we'll bring on some investors. We'll form another entity that is the GP, the managing group that will manage that actual investment. And that's what we're doing over here in, Integrity Portfolio Management. That's what I do. And we set these kind of deals up. We put together the team and I make it happen. So what I'm building right now, I have the fund infrastructure being built on the entity side and the legal side. So what does that mean? That means attorneys are writing a private placement memorandum and a limited partner agreement for us to be able to take on this money. Because basically all it is we're going to say, hey, we have this investment. If you want to get in on it, you can. Well, you can do that as long as you follow some really, really specific rules. And these attorneys are helping us to write out the paperwork so that we follow those rules. Then all that paperwork gets into the back end of the website. I keep making these 3 hand gestures. I hope you understand what they are. They make me understand it. There's the sales part, there's the buy part, and there's the investment part. So the investment part means that we're already doing this. This is a project that's been going on for 5 years. We have $1.5 million worth of land assets in Ocean View, Hawaii. I think we house we have about 150 people that we're providing places for them to live. And so we're now getting into where we're allowing other people to come in and partner with us. And so, like I said, that involves a fund and having the investors come in. So whenever people invest right now, the website part of investing, people will get to do the same thing as the sales part. So on the sales part, you get on, you shop for a property. You can buy it online pretty much. Same thing. You want to invest, you'll be able to shop for the specific investment that we have here, right? You see it? It's here. This is the invest part. This is the sale part. So people come on and invest here, automated. And then the last part that I'm getting pretty excited about is the buy part. This is what ties together the entire strategy and makes it what I call forced appreciation. So what I'm doing is forced appreciation of 11,000 acres. I'm taking the entire subdivision of Ocean View, Hawaii, and I'm making the land value $100,000 per 1 acre lot. Currently, lot prices are all over the place, from $5, $10, $15, $50, $80,000. So the prices are kind of all over the place, and people that's why I call it fiat. People buy from all different areas before they get here. Some might not have any knowledge. Some only want a lot with a whole lot of trees in this 2 or 3 block area, and they're willing to pay $80,000 for just a raw lot in that area. Some people want to get away from the entire world, and they'd like to be at 5,000 feet elevation on black lava rock with nobody for a mile away, and they want to have an acre way up there, and they just want to spend all of their money on building, and so they only want to pay $3,000. And so there are all different kinds of buyers out there for these different lots. So my goal is to bring the value of all the lots up and stop having all this bottom part of the market that keeps dragging down the entire market, because all of that entire market is stopping the commercial and the industrial from being developed, which means that the people who live in that area have to drive that hour to either Hilo or Kona. They almost always drive to Kona to go work. The other thing I didn't mention, I already said there's no hospital, there's no jobs, there's no doctor, there's no pharmacy, there's no bank, there's no schools. Do you think they have jobs? I mean, think about all the things I just named. That's where people work. So if, I'm being a little sarcastic, and apologies for that, but what it is there's not any work. There's hardly any work. It's agriculture and it's rock. So a lot of these issues we've been working on over time, but the real strong part of it is buying out the bottom of the market. And so the way we do that is we become the bank, we're the financiers, we're the insurance company, actually, all of it, because we buy everything on the bottom of the market. So the third website that I'll be launching, I have the sales parts already going, the investment part we're building now. Whenever we do the buy section, this will be, I'm buying everything under $5,000. And as we start our marketing campaign, we'll be sending everyone to the landing page to get their lead capture and be able to market to all those people. And the way we're going to be sending those people is everyone who lives in this subdivision has to be part of something called the Road Maintenance Organization. And also they pay property taxes. Well, the Hawaii County Property Tax Department of the Finance Department, the people who take property tax, they have a website where you can see everyone who is late. You can see their property tax and you can see their address. So we can build a list and market to everyone who is in Ocean View who owns property and is not building on it. So as we're there, I've been building a few different types of lists. You know, who's late on their property tax, who lives in the area. We probably have 500 to 800 lots, 500 to 800 acres. One lot is 1 acre. So we're talking about like 500 acres that are owned by people in foreign countries that we can't even foreclose on because there's no way to contact them. Whenever we contact them, we get back letters in other languages and we don't know. So we've been working on that too. That's another fun challenge to deal with. One of the sad things is a lot of people we're dealing with are inheritance. So a lot of people have bought land in Ocean View when it was $100 down and $20 a month back in the 60s and 70s. Well, that was really great. And they had a dream that one day their kids would move to Ocean View and one day it would be developed and their kids would want to live out here in Hawaii. And this would be something wonderful they could pass on to their kids. And unfortunately, what it's turned into for a lot of people is they lived in, say, Idaho. They bought this as a dream out in Hawaii, and now they've passed it on to their kids. Well, in the time that they owned it, the 10 or 20 years that they owned it, and they lived in Idaho and never came here, somebody else may have moved onto it and squatted, trash, dumped cars, dumped trash. All kinds of terrible things have happened on these lots like that. And so now the kid gets it, the inherit. They inherit. They have this deed that they don't even know what to do with, and there's not even an address. And if you call the county and try to get it, nobody even knows what the address is. Google Maps doesn't. It's so far rural and kind of removed from everywhere else. The Google Maps doesn't even update the zip code most of the time correctly. So all throughout the subdivision, you have some places on Google Maps that'll call it Captain Cook, Hawaii, which is about 40 minutes drive away. And you have some places called Ocean View, Hawaii, which is what it is. So it's so rural that we're having those type of issues. Here's another nice thing about it, though. Even though we're that rural and we are having that type of issues, we still we have some of the best roads of any subdivision. Actually, I'd say we have the best roads of any off-grid subdivision in Ocean View. That's the other secret part of the mix. So we have the best roads. The reason we have that is because we have a private road maintenance corporation. Plenty of subdivisions have that, but they're not large enough to really support it. And so one of our big problems is also one of our strengths. We're 11,000 acres. That means that's 11,000 people that pay the road assessment every year. Whenever you buy a piece of property as part of your deed, you get what's called Exhibit A. Exhibit A says that you are now also owner of 1/11,500th of the road corporation. You become a non-voting, you vote, but you're not like, you can't act, you can't be a manager of the corporation, but you're part of this road corporation that's there to maintain the roads. And it's a 501c4, and they are made to take care of the roads. And what they do is, they have all the equipment. It's 157 miles of roads. That's something I should have said. 157 miles of paved asphalt roads. And they're 30 feet wide. They're big, beautiful asphalt maintained well roads. Most agricultural subdivisions don't have that. You have to have some sort of a truck or a four-wheel drive to go through a lot of the agricultural subdivisions. And we don't have that problem. So it's really amazing. You can go from 2,000 feet elevation, which is where the highway is. That's where the grocery stores are, the gas stations, 2,000 feet. That's the commercial area. 3,000 feet higher is 5,000 feet elevation. So from 2,000 to 5,000 feet elevation, that whole way is paved roads. well-maintained private paved roads. So that's what our subdivision is. It's this humongous city, town area, and it's out there in the middle of nowhere. So the great thing about being out here in the middle of nowhere is we're in the middle of some untouched area. There are some beaches that you can get to that are untouched. Also, Punaluu Black Sand Beach is about 40 minutes away. Honuapu Beach, also called Whittington Beach, is pretty close. You can go to Pohui Bay, Manuka Bay, and these are all accessible by four-wheel drive vehicles. Now, none of them have roads. None of those beaches I just talked about have asphalt roads where you can just drive down to. I'm sorry, some of them do. Honuapu and Punaluu Black Sand do have roads, but the other ones I mentioned that are really close to Ocean View, that's Pohui Bay, Manuka, and what's the other one that's down there? Pohui, Manuka, and I can't remember. Maybe I'll remember it in a minute. Those ones you have to access through four-wheel drive. And probably not just like a regular truck, like a bigger truck. You need, I had a big truck with big tires and everything when we went down there quite a bit because you need it. You really do need it. So tons of people we have Razors and what's those other things they call it? The four-wheel side-by-sides, Kawasaki's and Hondas, the big ones. Tons of people ride four-wheelers down to the beach. And so we have a different atmosphere. This is not white sand beaches, daiquiris and palm trees. It's different. It's more fishing. It's wildlife. We have hunters and we have fishers. That's a big thing here. We have tons of people who not only work regular jobs, but they also supplement everything they do by living off the land. So they hunt pretty much every weekend because you can hunt wild boar. We hunt deer, goat, and the goats we have here, we call them goat, but it's Mouflon sheep. So we have Mouflon, which are those real furry sheep with the big rams. Those are wild here. And so they bow hunt all year. And the pigs here, I talked about it the other day. This is paradise because even the pigs here, we don't have rabies. We don't have sickness in pigs. So even a feral hog here is probably better meat than you're going to get in the store from the pigs that you're eating are standing in their own doo-doo all day in a factory style. And so feral hogs here, which you would think of on the mainland as a feral hog, and you think, ugh, feral hog, that doesn't sound like very good meat. Here, that's the best you can get. It's wild. There's no antibiotics, no sickness. They live in paradise. It doesn't get cold. They live with beautiful fruit, nuts, flowers dropping on the ground. So that's what they're living off of. And so anyway, I really like the pork here. And so you wonder why the Hawaiians eat so much of it, because there's tons of it and it's really good and it's not tainted with a lot of the things we have on the mainland. A lot of people think pork is very, dirty, and a lot of it that we have on the mainland is. Here it's not. It's very clean. So there's my pitch for the Hawaii Pork Association. I wonder if there is one. I should give me an endorsement, or I should give them an endorsement. I think I just did. So back to talking about business. What I've been talking about is that we're finally getting it finished up, the last of the three parts of the structure. And so having that already ready to sale pipeline, so we can buy everything under, say the first one we're going to set it at, I'm setting it at $5,000. Everything under $5,000 we're buying. And the things that are already at $7,000 will drop to $5,000. And so we'll get everything that's within the 3 to 5 range above the 5. And so we're going to get most of everything under $10,000. So everything under $10,000 on 11,000 acres, we're going to take all that cheap inventory we're reselling for $25,000 at 12%. Aha! Now, what's been the big challenge? The reason people can't sell their lots, the reason they can't raise, because people can't get insurance, they can't get financing. So we just take away those problems. Giving you a second to sort of get it, because we're buying everything under 10,000, raising it to 25 and selling it at 10%, which is $33,000. And so we're buying everything under 10. Most of it's going to be about 5,000 and selling it 3 times more over 5 years. So what we do is we sell $25,000 at 12% is $33,000 over 5 years. And so that's what we sell it for. as we start to sell, as we start to take all the inventory, all the cheap inventory off the market to where we don't have any of this competition driving down the price, we're the only ones who are offering the financing. And it's basically like we're offering the insurance, because since you can't get insurance, you can't get the mortgage to buy the land. Well, we just give you the mortgage to buy the land, which means we'll finance you for $500 down, around $500 per month, no credit check. Everyone qualifies. And the way we do that is we have such a large inventory, we can offset if we have any fallouts. The other thing is we're not kicking people off of land. A lot of people who can't make it, they tell us they can't make it. It's come down to where there's very few times that we ever are evicting anybody. They're telling us, we can't make it. We're so sorry. And here's the land. And we're so sorry. And that's become a big deal to us because we want to keep, like I said, we want every single sale that we make, that person now, I want them to be my new salespeople. I'm not out trying to make even customers. I'm out trying to make sales to make new salespeople. I want each customer to become my new salesperson. And so that's a big project we've really been focusing on. I might talk about it a lot because I'm thinking about it a lot. And it's something that I really want to just kind of imbue into our business. And the other amazing effect is I get to be a good person. Like I get to give you more than you're giving me. Like I get to give you such a good product that it's so amazing that you just feel like, man, this was so, I got to tell people about this. I can't just keep this. It'll make you feel selfish for not sharing it with the people around you. And so I'm tricking my business into being, forcing me to be a good person. And it's something that, you know, Kaipilani and I talk about all the time. It's a way that I've been able to grow our business without having, a lot of people get tied up in their heads. I actually got tied up in my head the other day. Whenever I was making that video, the last one I made, actually, I think I planned on it being 60 minutes and I only talked for 20, and I got tied up in my head and I couldn't think. Well, one of the ways to stop from being tied up in your head is to never be doing anything that you have any questions about. Like if you feel 100% morally correct about every single thing you're doing, you won't get tied up in your head. How could you? The reason you're tied up in your head is because you're probably questioning something that's going on. Now, I don't want to like make you feel guilty and be like, oh, something's going. You might have something in your head, you know, family. That's what I had going on. We had some, you know, and if you don't feel any like moral remorse or any kind of moral conflict, then how do you get tied up in your head? It's only whenever you have this moral conflict and saying, oh, am I doing it right? And now you're kind of arguing back and forth with yourself. Yeah, so that can get pretty painful. I've been very glad the last probably 3 years to really make some good breakthroughs on that and not have that be a big problem that challenges me for long amounts of time. A lot of times I find it, I'm able to stop it, you know, reframe it and make it different. Kind of going off the subject, so let's get back to talking about the investment and exactly what my strategy. So my strategy is real basic. Take everything cheap off the market and push up the price. And as we're taking everything cheap off the market, we own it all. So 1,000 lots with a value of $100,000 is $1 billion assets under management. So that's exactly what my goal is. 1,000 lots, $100,000 value, $1 billion assets under management. So the fund I'm launching, that's the goal. That's what we're working towards. I hope you've enjoyed listening to me talk about my strategy. I don't think I stuck to it as much as I had planned. I really didn't want to get off on any tangents or anything like that. Here's a tangent. I haven't had my Magic Mind in 4 days now. And so I can tell the difference. I'm really excited for it to get here. That's one of the things I talk about on is, you know, having your routines, having your health routines, having your mental routines. And that's your business routines. You know, I'm talking to myself whenever I say this stuff. It's really easy for me because I'm talking to, you know, my picture there. So it's like I'm talking in the mirror. If you don't talk in the mirror, I don't know what you're doing. I think you really should. I think everyone should be talking in the mirror. Oh, here's a good one. I just learned this one the other day, and I wish I had have paid attention to get her name. I was watching a podcast, and she was talking about high five your mind is her. So I think if you just Google high five your mind, You'll find probably her books and podcasts and stuff. She's really smart. And so I'm pretty sure she's a neuroscientist that's been investigating and working on with people with high performance and keeping them, going and working good and mentally positive. Because really, whenever you get to this level of what I'm doing, I'm hoping that a lot of the people that I'm talking to are kind of, being high performance and thinking about being at this level. It's down to millimeters now. It's cents and pennies. It's not hundreds of dollars. It's not a mile. I'm not winning the race by a mile. There's none of that anymore. You get to this level and it's about millimeters and inches. And it comes down to the small amounts of performance that you can be better than you were yesterday. Because really, you're competing against yourself. Everyone who's not, I talk about competition and all this kind of stuff. And that's really a tool and a hack that I use. And I pull it out and I feel cocky and I talk like, competitive and whatever. I talk the way I talk. It's for myself, to tell you the truth. A lot of times whenever I'm trying to communicate things to other people, I'm not going to have those issues of, sounding cocky or whatever. But whenever I'm talking to get myself, that's my little trick. You can use it if you like. So high five your mind. She was talking about you high five yourself in the mirror, and your mind doesn't know the difference between getting a high five in the mirror like that with yourself and getting a high five from another person. Your brain, think about it, almost doesn't matter who you are. You have thousands and thousands of impressions and pictures of chick, and sounds and thoughts that all go together with a high five. Boom, that's that success. Boom, you feel it. You trick your mind into it. And it seems like a really silly thing. And one of the things she was talking about is it's a powerful thing. And she gave all the neuroscience and all the everything about it. And then one of the things she said is she goes, and if you're really having that hard of a time just doing this, just making yourself do that, why are you fighting it so hard? You just want to feel this way? You don't want to feel better? You don't want your brain to get tricked into feeling better and thinking you're a good person and feeling successful at what you're up to? Is that what it is? Is that what's holding you back? Because you're going to get what you want. If that's what you want, so all you have to do is want to have it be different. Look in that mirror, do the little high five, and feel a lot better. It's a great habit to get into. I've been doing it. I really thought, just like she said, I thought this is really kind of silly and ridiculous. And, I'm glad that she went on this podcast. I think I was watching her on Tom Bilyeu. So that's a really great one to go watch if you enjoy podcasts about high performance, being in business and being good at what you do. Tom Bilyeu. I think his one's is called Impact Theory. That's the name of his show. And so that one really struck me when I thought about it. I was like, she when she broke it down and she was like, why are you fighting so hard against it? Like, why are you making so many excuses to not go like that? Why are you making so many excuses? Is it really that hard? Can you just not get over this feeling that you think it's silly so that you can have a better life and so can your family? You might get sick of me hearing me tie it back to things like that, but that's the way I talk to myself, and that's the way I get a lot of things done. That's another tool and a hack I use. Tying it back to something really important. They say when the why is big enough, the how gets really easy. When the why is big enough, the how gets easy. When your why is my family, and can't you just get over whatever this little problem is you're having? Hi, Mom. And so tying it back to the family is a big one. That's worked for me. I hope it works for you. Let's see, 54 minutes. Made it to 54 today. That's great. I feel really good. I hope you all have a wonderful day. I'm going to sign off for now. I'm still going to be on. Let's see. This is day 5, so I have 95 more days to go. And you'll be seeing me. Actually, I'm going to start having guests soon. On Monday, I have guests starting. Yay. I will see y'all tomorrow.